and let's just record this session.
Yes, recording progress. Just
Okay, so my watch list currently I have around 6 pairs. Okay, I have 6 pairs on my watch list. So we'll just go through all of them. I have already drawn my value areas, I think, because a lot of you guys have been asking about how I get my value areas. And my value area I get from the smart money concept. If you are familiar with that, or if you don't know about smart money concept, a lot of YouTube tutorials about smart money concept, so you can just check them out. But mine is a refined version of smart money concept because I'm looking at a specific value area. I'm not looking at a zone. I'm looking at a specific value area. Okay, so with that in mind, we can start with pounds franc. This pair, I think we have had this pair for over 2 months now. Okay, we have had this pair for over 2 months now, and we have had the same pattern, of which currently we are still on a correction face down. We are still on a lower time frame. On a lower time frame, this one looks like a consolidation in this area. But on higher time frame, you can see clearly this was the impulse, and this one is just a correction to the downside. So potentially we might push up. Okay, then from there we'll know how the price will form. So let's just dive in and see what the price action over there is happening, because currently we can see a double bottom. And I remember we took this trade from these levels, we took the buys, and again we took the buys again from these. Once the price pushed up, it gave us a pullback, and then we pushed again to the upside. So all of these move plus this move is around, this one is around 100 pips and this one is 100 pips. So it was some lovely pips to see. And now currently I can see the price is moving down corrective. I go to a lower time frame, these weeks are corrective over here. So potentially we might drop up to this same level over here before we see that push again to the upside. Okay, and what I'm seeing with such deep pullbacks like these ones, there is high chance that we might be forming a pattern in these levels, because as you can see, we had this 3-touch pattern over here that gave us this downside. Okay, and after that we still have this pattern over here that is forming, of which if this pattern is to play out, we might get this third touch over here, and then we drop again to the downside. And remember that, guys, if you have seen the post I've posted about this pair, we have a lot of liquidity in these areas because people like trade double bottom and double tops, because they are also a form of support and resistance levels. Okay, so there's a lot of money. Stop losses are down in these levels over here. So the market needs to clear out this money which is around this area before it shows us the clear momentum and the direction of the market. Okay, so with that in mind, you need to be aware of what's happening currently. And for me right now, what I'm seeing is this pattern over here forming. Okay, I'm seeing this pattern over here forming, which is an expanding type of channel. Okay, so with this pattern forming, I'm expecting to see this third touch of mine lining up with this value area. This value area, if you know the smart money concept, you know that the last green candle before the impulse, the downside, is usually the place where the price tend to come back. Okay, this last green candle over here is where the price usually comes back. But as you can see with my value area, I'm specific with the exact area where it's supposed to come. Okay, that's why I'm saying my type of entry is quite refined. Okay, is quite refined. So I'll be looking to take these buys from these levels. We write the price up to these areas over here. Then when we get our third touch over here, or when we get our third touch of this pattern with the value area, we'll look for that signal for that impulse correction and a continuation to the downside. So we'll take again this right to the downside from these areas. Okay, and once this price has played out and moved to the downside, that's where you will come and adjust your pattern. Okay, because as you can see with this pattern, the overall pattern is pushed to the upside. So with that in mind, what you should be aware of is that you might update this area up to this level over here. We might update it up to this level so that we get this one will be the first touch at the top, second touch at the bottom, then this one will be the second touch at the top. Meaning we will get, once we get the third touch at the bottom somewhere there. Once we get this third touch somewhere there, then we look for our overall buys to the upside. Okay, so this is my idea on this pair. Okay, as you can see, there is a lot of psychology happening in this pair. Okay, so you better be careful when trading this pair in these areas. Okay, but for now, let's look at this buy setup in these areas over here. So for these buys, let me just clear out these ones so that we focus on the buys on low time frame. This is just overall movement on the higher time frame, the way the price, what the price is doing currently. So let's just look at 1 hour. Let's go to 1 hour time frame and see what's happening down there. So when we go to a 1 hour time frame, when we go, Noble says he can't hear me. Check your mic, Noble. Check your mic. Check your mic. Is it Noble or Cube? Cube10, I don't know. Okay. So let's continue with this one. As you can see, guys, what happened to this? Let me just show you what happened in this area so that you don't see it as a consolidation. Okay. So first things first, this was the impulse to the upside. Okay. With this impulse to the upside, it was so aggressive that the price has to come to the last red area, the last area where we got the red candle before we push to the upside. Okay, which is this zone over here. Even though with my group, you know how we got this value at with a sniper entry, because I look at exact level. So once the price pushed up to these areas over here, that's why I told you guys there is high chance we might not get that third touch down there. If you have watched my YouTube videos, so I told you guys there is high chance we might not reach down on the third touch because of this value area over here, of which it did come, and we took the buys. Okay, we took the buys. It went around 100 and something pips and then pushed again to the downside. This is the first impulse that was to push this overall pattern to the upside. But you can see the price decided to correct again deeply to the downside. So with that in mind, we need to adjust. We need to adjust with the market. So what happens is that we drew our trend line of our pattern over here. Okay, this is our pattern. We drew it over here. And as you can see, guys, the price, once we reach this area, is pushed up. This was the first correction on lower time frame. This one probably from 15 minutes you could have caught this one, but the right entry which we were to take was in this level over here, because this push was impulsive. You can see all of these are green candles. So we needed to focus this last area where we had the red candles. Okay, so this was the last area where we had the red candles, of which the price had to come back to this level. As you can see, the price came down impulsive. So if you are unaware of what the price was doing, you could not have caught this buy to the upside. Okay, you could not have caught this because you could have just seen this one as an impulsive move to the downside. So you could have thought that this one is a correction for a continuation again to the downside. Okay, so this one made this price to push to the upside, and once the price pushed to the upside again, it made a deeper pullback. So seeing this deeper pullback forming in this area, there was a clue that this price was forming this correction over here, potentially pushing to the downside. But currently, this price is currently stopping at this same value area over here, of which if I'm to go lower to a lower time frame, we'll get another value area in these levels over here. But I want to go into 15-minute time frame with this one, for this one. But there is another value area where you can take this trade over here. So what I'm seeing currently is this correction over here, potentially pushing this price to the upside. So what we need to do is wait for this break line or this trend line to be broken over here. Once this trend line has been broken, wait for that correction and then take these buys to the upside up to this value area of ours where we'll be looking for the drop. So as you can see, with this pushing up to this area, we also get another confluence to our down push, because as you can see, this is the first lower high of this uptrend that is about to start. Okay, so if that is the lower high, the first lower high for this push to the upside, you can come up with this pattern over here. Can come up with this pattern over here, of which it lines up nicely with our value area, with our idea of what we are looking for. So if this price pushes up like this, up to these value areas of ours, we will be looking to take these sales again to the downside. Okay, guys. So I had to be a bit more in details with this bouncy strong, because it just has a lot of patterns happening and a lot of psychology happening in this pair. Okay, so be alert on this one, stepping up nicely, and we'll be looking to see how the market will go. Be looking to see how the market will go. This is the right pattern that we'll use for us to get that touch up there, for us to look for that drop again. Okay, guys, I hope you are clear on pound Swiss franc. Let's just quickly go to Aussie yen. Aussie yen. Yen pairs are shaping up nicely. Yen pairs are shaping up quite nicely, guys. Yen pairs. Let me just go through some chart. Yes, Cube, just try it. Okay, let's go to Aussie yen. Actually, all yen pairs are looking lovely, guys. All yen pairs are looking lovely. So far, let's just go to a daily time frame. We just analyze from the higher time frame. And one thing that is clear to me is that this push over here was aggressive one. Okay, this push over here was so aggressive. So we need to correct this, to fill this gap which was left with these clean candles over here. As you can see, we try to push the downside over here, but we not clean it well up to the first impulsive move over here. So I'm expecting this price at least to reach up to this level, because even here we have these clean green candles over here. So this will be our first target. If it breaks this area, then this will be our second target over here. So me coming with my value area, of which it was this last red candle. Okay, this was the last red candle before the push up. Okay, and you can see my value area is just at the middle of that red candle, which is nice to see. So with that red candle over there, and again we have another value area in this, with this doji over here. We go down to a lower time frame, we refine it, because this is the level. Same thing, as you can see, what has happened here, this is the same as this one, guys. These patterns are the same. It's only that they are in different sizes. But let me just bring up the bars patterns so that I can show you guys. You can see with this push over here. Let's just take a clear look at this one. This one looks nice. Look at this one. This is the push for that one. And then we have this push over here. As you can see, guys, these patterns are the same. These patterns are the same. It's only that this one is smaller and that one is bigger one. Okay. If I'm to enlarge this one, you'll find out that they are just the same. Okay, this price moved the same way. But for this one right now, we are pushing the downside, possibly clearing this low over here and potentially reaching up to this low in these areas. Because for me, I'm seeing some sort of an expanding type of channel over here. Okay, I'm seeing this as an expanding type of channel, which if it plays out, we might get this overall sales from this area to the downside. Okay, that's my thought on this one. That's if we will get up to this value area down here. Okay, so let's just see what's happening currently. We are looking for, currently the market is pushing to the downside. The market is pushing to the downside. But as you can see, when you go down to a lower time frame, let's see, when you go down to a lower time frame, let's just refine this value area over here. You can take it to the last red candle on daily, which is this low over here. If you want to learn about the smart money concept, there's a lot of tutorial on YouTube. You can do that, but I just have a shortcut means for it. So as you can see, guys, the price has pushed down quite nicely over here. As this one is an impulsive move. So what we need to expect in these areas is that we need to get that correction. Okay, we need to get that correction for a continuation to the downside, but we need to know where this correction will end, and that's where our value areas come in. So as you can see, guys, this is the last, for me, this is the last green candle before that impulsive move to the downside. So I would like to see this correction pushing all the way to this value area of mine before we continue to the downside. That's what I'm seeing over here. Okay, so with this in mind and potentially giving this pattern over here, okay, this might be a lovely pattern, which if we get an extension over here, it will be so nice for us to buy to the upside. Okay, that's what I'm seeing over there. So we need to wait for this correction, but let's see if this correction is enough pips for us to take. As you can see, this correction is around 130 pips up to that value area. So that means that we can take advantage of this pullback over here on all the yen pairs. Just look at your top 3 yen pairs and just analyze them and focus on them. Don't trade on all the end pairs. So for me, what I need to see right now, I need to see a clean push in price up. Then where the last red candle, I'll wait for that price to come back to that level, then take that buys up to these areas. Then from these areas is where I will look for my overall sells to the downside. So the overall move is to the downside, but we need to trade, we need to take this pullback over here because it will be a very deep pullback. Okay, so our minimum area to take our profits will be these levels over here. This will be a minimum area to take our profits if it's to push the downside. But for now, focus on these buys over here, guys. Focus on these buys. This one will be a quick one. Focus on these buys over here. So I'm clear on Aussie. Clear on Aussie. Next, let's go to Kiwi card. Let's go to Kiwi card. Kiwi card also is shaping up quite nicely, guys. Kiwi card is shaping up very nice. Okay. As you can see, we had this. We also, for this one, we also had a pattern. Let me just invert the scale. We had our pattern over here. Let's see. We had this pattern, which is so nice and clear. Nice. As you can see, this is a daily chart pattern. Okay. So with this pattern is so clean, man. It's as clean as it can get. Okay. So with this pattern, and on a daily time frame, you can clearly see this one is a correction. This one you can just clearly see this one is a correction. So potentially you might get another push to the upside. So with that in mind, let's just invert it back, go down to a lower time frame. We see how we can take advantage of this correction over here. So you can see currently we are pushing up correctively, and the first area for me to watch for my sales is on this last green candle over here. As usual, these are the value areas that I usually look for, guys. So this is the value area that I'll be looking for my overall sales the downside. So this correction is not yet done. This correction is not yet done. So if you are to just come up with our pattern, you can just take it from here. Just take it from here. Okay, this is the pattern that I can come up with over here, of which I can see if we can just get that push up to this area, it will be so nice to push to get that sales to the downside. Minimum target is in these lows over here, because we just have two touches at the bottom of the top and two touches at the bottom. So this is this one is as simple as it can get, guys. This one is as simple as it can get. This one, we just wait for that correction to finish. As we can see, the correction has been a bit big. So the bigger the correction, the bigger the impulse. So let's just wait for this one. Once we reach our value area over here, then we'll take it to the downside. Okay, we'll take it to the downside. Let me just get rid of this zone because I have my value area. So watch out on Kiwi card. This one is as simple as it can get. This one is so nice. Watch out on Kiwi card, guys. Next is card Swiss franc. Card Swiss franc. Card Swiss franc. Nice. As you can see with the card Swiss franc, this one we had a very nice trade over here at the top. And currently I'm still waiting. Even here, this one was also a nice area for our entry. Oh, we're remaining with 10 minutes. So as you can see, this one, as you can see, this candle was too big. This candle needs to be filled. This candle is just too big. We need to correct all of these candles before we continue with the downside. Okay, so with that in mind and looking at the price action in this area is just corrective, the downside. So potentially we'll push again up to minimum this level, and then we look for our overall drop to the downside again. This one is also clear to see. It's nice to see such patterns on higher time frame, because going down to a lower time frame, it will be easier to draw these patterns. So currently, as you can see, we have this low over here. Actually, let me just mark on this area over here. This is the key area. As you know, key area I mark with the purple one, and the value area I mark with the green area. Value area is where I look for my entry, and key area is where I expect the price to react from it, of which they are also called psychological levels. Okay, so you can see this is the key area that I'll be looking to see if this price reaches these levels over here. You can see this one. You can say this one is a false breakout, but to me, for me, I call it a retracement candle. This one is just a retracement candle to the upside. So this is the area that I'll be looking to see how the price will react from it. And since this is a clean correction to the downside, we can come up with a pattern. If I'm just to invert this one, can come up with a pattern over here. Okay, this one looks nice. This one looks nice. So let me just invert it back. No. Oh man, these charts, man. Okay. If I'm to invert it back, as you can see, guys, it's looking quite nice. And we are currently we're just dropping slowly to our value area. So this one also is checking out nice. So if we can just get this touch over here, wait for that first impulse correction, and then we take this price all the way to the highs over here. This one is going to be a very lovely one. This one, mute yourself, man. Let me just make this guys make noise. Oh, it keeps shifting. Okay, let's just continue because we have less time. So you can see, guys, wait on this correction to finish, potentially up to this level, of which you can call it a double bottom. So, but for me, I'm waiting for this third touch over here. First impulse, the upside, followed by a correction. So this one will be the nice entry for us to look at. For us to look at. Our first target will be in this high over here. This one should be our first target, as it's our overall 90% rule. Then we focus again up to this high over here. But potentially for me, this one I'm seeing it preaching all the way to these areas before we continue to the downside, because this clean candle started all the way to these areas over here. But we'll see how it goes. For us right now, we are focusing on these buys from the lows over here. So watch out on this one, guys. Watch out on this one. Looking nice. Let's see. Let's go on silver. Real quick. Silver, I think I drew this pattern for a very long time, and I drew this pattern like 2 weeks ago. Okay, I drew this pattern like 2 weeks ago. Okay, so this is the pattern I drew for you guys. Okay, even though I had another pattern with my premium members, but this pattern seems like it has played out than the other one. So as you can see, we just had our third touch, and the first candle, weekly candle over here, is quite impulsive to the upside. So what I want to see coming next week is a pullback, which will be potentially a week or so. Then we'll continue again to the upside. That's just it. Okay, that's just it. Let's go down to our daily time frame. We see what you can do. This push was so aggressive. So for me to take these buys, I want to see this price coming back down again to these areas. Okay, these are the areas I want to buy this pair, because that's where the overall push began. So for this one, yes, it has broken our trend line. As you can see, it has broken our trend line over here. So potentially, if this price won't come back to this level, it will come up to these levels over here, okay, these levels. So what we need to see is a correction over here up to this area, push up. Then if you manage to get that bigger pattern, then you'll again take it to the upside. So you need to know how you'll take this trade. Because for this price to push up to these lows, it needs to show us that the price needs to come back down. So potentially to move up with a corrective pattern. Okay, I'm expecting this price to push up, maybe corrective up to a certain level, maybe even up to these levels. Before we get those push again, deep pull back up to this area, then we look for those buys. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing in this pair, though the overall push to the upside. So we need to focus on that correction to the downside. So watch out on this area, the area I've just marked, the two levels that I've just marked, this area where this week started and these lows over here. So these are the key area that you might see this correction coming back to, and then you push to the upside. But since this is a daily chart, we can take advantage. Since this is silver again, we can take advantage of these sales up to these levels, because it's a lot of pips before we we reach these levels over here. So if I'm just to refine this area, I can just take it up to the last one over here. Okay, that's one, that one, that one, that one. This one will be around these areas. Okay, nice. So as you can see, since this is a very impulsive move of the upside, if we might to get corrective move on lower time frame over here, potentially we might get that drop. Wait for that correction on 1 hour 15 minutes. We take these sales. Once it reaches this level, you see how the price reacts. If it breaks impulsive, then our overall target will be this area where we'll be looking to take our overall buys to the upside. So this is what you need to see. Okay, we won't drop from this area because we don't have yet enough market structure on lower time frame for this price to push to the downside. So wait for this price action to form over here, potentially on 15-minute time frame. Once we get this descending type of channel, wait for that first impulse and a correction to enter this drop to the downside. But our overall move, we are going to hold this one for the buys. Okay, we just need to be patient on those buys because the price can't move in a straight line. Okay, lastly, we have US 30. Man, these indices, I have a lot of indices. Like these are my top setups over here for CFDs. I have Ethereum, Bitcoin, Nasdaq, US 30, Japan 225, and oil. All of these setups I'm looking to trade coming next week. All of these setups over here. But I'll analyze those ones with some members. So let's just continue with this one. So let's go to US 30. US 30 is just nice. It's just nice. As you can see, this was a clean impulse trade. This one is quite obvious to see. So it's either we continue pushing up, then giving us that signal that we'll continue push up, then we'll take this market to the upside. So this is where I'll change my bias from the sells to the buys. But as far as I see, this price needs to push to the downside. Okay, this price needs to push to the downside. And looking at all the other indices and stocks, they're all giving me the same signal. And looking at this one, the overall area that I expect this price to finish that correction was in the last green candle before the impulse the downside, which was this candle over here. Okay, this is the last green candle before the impulse the downside. So as you can see, where the market is currently, we are at that exact same area. Okay, so with this one, I'm expecting the price to push down next week, potentially consolidating this area, then we push the downside. Like I expect this price to start moving down as soon as Monday, because this price is looking so nice. So to be on the safe side, you can just draw your pattern, your trend line over here. You can just draw a trend line over here. Okay. You can even have a deeper trend line than this one. If I go to a 1 hour time frame, you might potentially get another trend line this level, but this one is a bit risky, so you need to be careful on trading lower time frame. So for this one, we expect a break of this structure, correct? Break of this structure, bigger correction, and then we continue the downside. So this is what I want to see. As you can see with the Tesla, as I've shown you guys the Tesla, when we were starting